This is Willamette Week's Distant Voices interviews. I'm here with Samantha Gladu, who is you're the executive director of Next Up, right?
Yeah,
Good. Next Up is a Get Out the Vote nonprofit that many people recall as the Bus Project, but it has a new name and sort of a new mission, although some of the old mission's still there.
absolutely. Yeah, thanks so much, Erin, for reaching out. Next Up really loves Willamette Week and our partnership, Candidates Gone Wild. And the role of media is as important as ever for making sure that Oregonians know what's happening and what's on their ballot. So thank you.
Thank you. Poor Candidates Gone Wild has had to go inside. Candidates have gone inside is where they've gone during this election cycle. And you're inside, obviously. And the question we're asking everyone during this time is what are you going to remember about being stuck indoors for the last month and a half?
Ooh, I'm going to remember the importance of community and how different it is, right? And the need to still be really engaged and connected online. The role of technology is so important.
We're getting a little bit of feedback here. It's a little hard to hear you. Can I pause it for 1 second?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing for fun?
For fun, I'm playing bass. I got a new bass for my birthday, which was March 23rd, when Bikini Kill would have played at the Crystal Ballroom.
Oh, so instead of going to the Bikini Kill show, you learned how to play Bikini Kill songs?
A little bit, something like that.
Which song are you practicing most?
Rebel Girl, duh.
Of course. So next up, still getting out the vote for May. Are you endorsing candidates this cycle?
Yeah, Next Up Action Fund endorsed candidates this cycle. It was a really important process where we had people from all levels of our community doing reviews of questionnaires and having deliberative conversations about who is going to be next up and most live out our mission and values.
What does organizing look like during a pandemic?
Well, there's still a really big need for people power to do peer-to-peer outreach via calls and texts in place of doors and other face-to-face methods. You know, there's no substitute for one-on-one voter contact. So we are doing things like calls and text messages, making 63,000 calls and 80,000 text messages to get out the vote with young people. And people are really enthusiastic about talking. People are really responsive, and maybe even more so under usual times, right? People are really looking for action and answers and wanting to elect people who will get the job done.
If memory serves, a big part of what Next Up has done is go door to door and try to register people to vote. You can't do that now, so you just cold call?
A little bit, yeah. We call people who we have registered to vote and also young people throughout the state to make sure that they are reminded. And honestly, these are the sweetest, most exciting calls to make because people are enthusiastic about being reminded to vote. They like it.
One person who doesn't like vote by mail, the president. What do you make as someone involved in an organization that helped create at least expand vote by mail in this state? What do you make of the Republican attacks on it nationwide?
It's really clear to me that nationwide we need to have vote by mail with paid postage, same-day voter registration, and model of automatic voter registration. Vote by mail is safe, it's secure, accessible, and it allows Oregonians to spend time doing what they love instead of waiting in line for hours and hours. And vote by mail is an important antidote to racist voter suppression and to COVID-19. Politicians at the federal level have got to step up and stop suppressing votes.
Did Oregon decide to pay for postage this time around?
Yes. Thanks in part to our advocacy over multiple years and coalition partners, Oregon has now paid postage for ballots, which means that when you get your ballot, you should fill it out right away and put it in the mailbox, because your mailbox is now a ballot drop site and it doesn't cost anything to vote.
What did Next Up actually do to get paid postage done? What was your angle there?
Next Up worked this bill for 4 legislative sessions, and this year it culminated in passing the bill with 42 sponsors, support from the Republican Secretary of State, the Democratic governor, and countless other organizations who are really important for us to make sure that we were hitting the angles that we needed to highlight to make sure that lawmakers understood how important paid postage is. And paid postage in particular is really important for accessibility, right? We have some counties where the elections office is 2 hours from where people live. That's really far. And also when we think about Oregonians with mobility, modifications, or needs, sometimes drop boxes aren't wheelchair accessible. And for people who maybe need some ballot assistance, whether it's related to language or anything else, we know that paid postage really helps Oregonians get all the way toward.
Is there a lawmaker who you're most proud of convincing? Was there a hardest person to convince?
There was a lot of change in the legislature from when we initially put up paid postage to when we passed it. And I think that the lawmaker that was most critical was former Secretary of State, the late Secretary of State, Dennis Richardson. Having his support made such a big difference, along with Republican House Leader Christine Drazen, the representative there. Pushing the bill was also really important.
So it was bipartisan. There were like major Republicans. Drazen doesn't agree with the Democrats on anything.
Yeah, and she does agree on this. Rep. Drazen and some of her colleagues really important, and it shouldn't be restricted.
So what else should we know about what Next Up is up to these days?
Yeah, Next Up is awesome, and I'm important that you asked what Next Up is up to these days. So for a year, Next Up has engaged young people in civics and gotten out the vote. And we do it in a multitude of ways, through leadership development, voter registration and mobilization, and also policy change. And we have 4 cohorts of young people who meet monthly, engage, plug into our campaigns, lead our campaigns, and our decision making. And in this COVID-19 time, we've pivoted to all online. So we're doing things like Zoom calls, virtual meetings, and we're finding that people want to spend even more time together. So we're hosting movie nights and town halls with different lawmakers at different levels.
What movie?
We watched Knock Down the House together.
Nice. What's the most people you've had on a Zoom call?
70.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's essentially a block party.
Yeah, it's really fun. And when I think about our Get Out the Vote efforts, which are starting in full swing next week, I'm really excited to see that kind of enthusiasm carry. This is full of young people who want to do things like get out the vote and want to do good and really lift up community. So we'll be doing it digitally for the foreseeable future.
Have you promised at a certain membership level that you'll play bass for everybody?
Not yet, but I'm thinking about doing a house party as we think about what virtual fundraising looks like, right? I will play bass for people.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing that. Do you have your bass with you?
It's in the other room. I could grab it if you want to see it.
I'll pause the video and you can grab it.
Okay.
All right, you're back and you have your bass.
I got it. This is the one that I got for my birthday.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yep, it's beautiful.
Can you play a lick or two? Or?
Sure.
Awesome. Samantha, thank you so much. I really appreciate you spending a few minutes with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care.
Stay safe. Stay home.
Also, update your voter registration. Go to beregistered.org by April 28th.
You heard it here first. Thanks.
Bye.